The colony falls, the stars over New Dawn looked peaceful that night. Children laughed as they played near the central dome. Farms stretched beyond the horizon under glowing sky panels. People lived simple lives full of hope. The colony was new, but already full of life and dreams. Captain Liam stood on the observation deck of the main tower, watching over the settlement. He held a warm cup of brew and looked out with calm eyes. His shift was quiet. Sensors showed nothing in the nearby space lanes. The colony's perimeter defenses had never been tested. They were built more for warnings than war in. The school dome teachers guided students through history lessons. In the hospital, medics treated a sprained ankle and a minor burn in the habitat. Block's families shared meals. No one expected anything to go wrong. No alarms had ever gone off before. Then something changed in the sky, a flicker of movement. A strange signal, too fast for normal patrol ships, too silent for friendly cargo fleets. Liam narrowed his eyes and walked toward the control panel. He sent a quick scan request. The system replied with garbled data, unknown signatures, multiple readings, then silence. Stars over New Dawn darkened as black shapes emerged from above, sleek and long like spears. They descended without sound. No warning, no words, no demand. The first blast came from the north edge. A wave of heat scorched the outer farms. People ran, children screamed, parents grabbed whatever they could and ran for shelters. Sirens finally echoed across the valley, but too late. Automated defense drones launched into the sky. They were fast but few. The black ships tore through them like paper laser beams, ripped through the main dome. The school vanished in white flame. Captain Liam sent an emergency signal to Earth. He tried to broadcast a warning, but the signal jammed. He rerouted the feed through an old backup line and hoped it would reach command. A last chance, a final cry in the control tower. The lights flickered. Liam locked eyes with his second officer. They nodded. They both knew they would not survive, but they would hold as long as they could. Hospital dome collapsed under heavy fire. Escape shuttles launched, but were shot down one by one. A mother covered her child and whispered calm words as fire surrounded them. A farmer tried to shield his livestock, but the fields melted under the heat above. The colony, the alien ships circled slowly like vultures, cold and silent. No marks, no faces, only death in orbit. A single camera drone caught the image of the burning colony. It recorded the fall of New Dawn. The feed was rough, shaky, filled with static. But it reached Earth. The transmission was short. The screams, the flames, the silence after on Earth. Signal arrived during the middle of a routine council session. It played without warning. Leaders stared in silence. Civilians watching live feeds froze. News anchors stopped speaking mid-sentence. Footage burned into the minds of every human who saw it. The last scream, the fire rising, the black ships. In that moment, the mood on Earth shifted. There was no debate, no delay, only silence. Then movement. Military officials gathered. Fleet leaders came from every region. Orders were given. Ships fueled. AI systems activated. The Black Hammer fleet was called into readiness. Earth had known peace for years, but not weakness, not forgetfulness. The colony was not just a place, it was a symbol, a promise, and now it was ash. The people of Earth stood together. In grief and rage, they remembered their past, the wars they once fought, the strength they once held, and they remembered one thing clearly. Humanity never attacked first, but it always answered back in deep space. The black ships of the attackers vanished into the dark. They left no message, no trace, only ruins. The survivors were few, scattered in underground rooms, hidden behind rock walls. Weak signals still pulsed from one hidden shelter. A child's voice calling out faintly, asking if anyone was out there, hoping someone would answer, and someone with the Black Hammer fleet was already moving. The stars would not remain calm for long. Humanity rises. Command halls of Earth's main defense base filled with quiet footsteps, men and women in dark uniforms walked with urgency. Screens displayed the last feed from New Dawn. Flame shadows. The silent shape of destruction. Commander Reed stood in the center of the war room. He was not young. His face showed years of service, lines of wisdom. Eyes without fear. He watched the footage without blinking. He had seen war before, but not like this. Not on a peaceful colony, not without reason beside. Him stood Advisor Lane. She read through the data, her hand steady, voice cold. She listed ship. Models unknown to any Earth fleet, weapon signatures unfamiliar. No demands had been made, no warning sent. This was not conquest. This was extermination across Earth. Anger stirred crowds gathered in cities. People lit candles for the lost. They held signs in silence. Others shouted for action. No voice spoke of peace, only justice in underground bunkers. Engineers powered up systems long kept quiet. Project Black Hammer, a fleet never used. A force built for one reason: to strike back when all words failed. Steel giants woke from sleep. Massive warships built over decades, carriers, destroyers, pulse cruisers. At the heart of the fleet stood a single ship, the Judicator, armed with the core lance, a weapon that could crack a planet's surface. It had never been tested. Now it would be. Commander Reed walked the halls of the launch hangar. Pilots stood at attention. Engineers checked systems. Droids loaded supplies. He paused near a wall where a digital frame showed faces of New Dawn residents. He looked at the children, the workers, the families who had built homes far from Earth. They had asked for nothing. They had harmed no one. Behind him a voice called out. Tactical Officer Mara stepped forward. She carried a data pad. The source of the attack had been tracked. An area in deep space once marked as neutral, now shown as occupied by an unknown force. The Vadrano Treaty had ever been signed with them. No contact recorded. Only silence until the attack. Reed gave the order. No broadcast. No diplomacy, only movement. The fleet began its activation. Across the solar system massive gates opened, ships aligned. Engines roared without sound in the vacuum of space. Families on Earth watched the skies. Fathers held their sons, mothers whispered to their daughters, not words of fear, but of pride, of strength. This was not a war Earth had wanted, but it was one it would finish. As the Black Hammer fleet rose into orbit, the people sent messages, letters to the soldiers, notes for the fallen lines. Filled with sorrow and fire, the President of Earth made a brief appearance on the global network. She stood with both hands behind her back. No speech written, no promises made. She spoke from the heart. They struck at our children. They took away peace from those who never held a weapon. We did not seek war. We did not call for blood. But they have left us no choice. We will not allow such silence to fall again. We do not forget. We do not forgive. We rise. Her words spread across planets and stations. Miners on moons paused their drills. Traders halted their ships. People everywhere watched as Earth's fleet vanished into deep space. On board the Judicator, Commander Reed stood on the bridge, his officers silent, focused. The stars stretched around them like cold watchers. He gave a single command jump. The ships vanished through folds in space. No warning given, no signal left behind. They moved faster than thought, through hidden paths carved long ago by human explorers. Each second brought them closer to the heart of the enemy on Earth. Silence returned. People returned to work, but nothing felt the same. Shadows hung in every heart. Not fear, not sadness. Something colder. In the ruins of New Dawn, a single emergency beacon still blinked, buried deep, unseen by the enemy. A weak pulse, a signal that said, we are still here. The child inside the shelter pressed a hand to the wall. He listened for sounds, his voice soft, asking again and again, is someone coming? Far across the stars, an answer was already on the way. The counterattack begins. The Black Hammer fleet moved like a silent storm. Across the black void, their ships glided with deadly purpose. No signal came from them, no light beyond what was needed. They did not come to speak, they came to end. Commander Reed stood in the center of the Judicator's control deck. Before him floated a map of the Vedran system. Red markers pulsed where their colonies rested. Lines showed energy paths, defensive ring, supply stations. It was a well-protected space, built for control, built for power, but not built to face Earth's wrath. Tactical Officer Mara studied the scans, her voice calm. Enemy satellites deactivated. No patrol ships noticed the fleet. Their security depended on fear, not skill, not caution. Reed nodded. Send the drones at once. A group of fast unmanned crafts shot forward. They moved like ghosts. No engine trails, no signal trails. They reached the outer defense line within minutes. In a far outpost, a veteran technician noticed a flicker on his console. He tapped the screen, then frowned before he could call out. The room exploded in white light, a flash, a roar. Then nothing remained in space. The drones returned, not one lost. They had done their job. The path was open. The fleet advanced inside the Judicator. The mood was steady, not loud, not rushed. Every move had been planned for years. Earth had prepared not just weapons, but minds, its soldiers trained. Not just in battle, but in restraint. They were not savages, they were not monsters, but they had not come to forgive. First target appeared ahead, a mining moon with 3 veteran bases. Tactical Officer Mara gave the order, strike from orbit. No warning, no delay. The pulse cannons fired. Blue beams lanced through the black. Within seconds, the moon's surface broke. Cracks formed. Bases vanished. No escape shuttles seen. No resistance given. They had not expected a storm. The other ships moved to secondary targets, orbital stations, communication hubs, energy collectors. Each one fell without sound, one by one. No calls for peace. No cries for help. Only silence. Commander Reed stood firm, his eyes cold, his mind focused. This was not about rage. This was not about pride. It was about memory, about justice. In one corner of the deck, a message blinked. Survivor's signal detected from New Dawn Week. Buried, still alive. Reed stared at the screen, a child's voice repeating a simple message: we are here, please come. Reed gave the order. Send a stealth ship, bring them back, no matter the risk. Meanwhile, in the heart of the veteran system, alarms had begun to rise. Their capital received fragments of data ships, gone outposts, dark, unknown attackers. They sent scouts, they activated shields, but it was too late. The Black Hammer fleet was already inside their space, already burning their strength. A border station, a veteran captain shouted orders: fire everything. Call the fleet, raise all defenses. Too slow. Human ships emerged from the dark. Cannons opened fire, shields cracked, engines failed. The station tore apart from within. Not a single attacker lost. Back on the Judicator, Commander Reed watched the live feed. He saw veteran ships explode. He saw bases crumble. His face did not change. One of the younger officers asked a question. Should we send a message? Reed answered without turning. We are sending one. As the battle continued, Earth's fleet moved closer to the central planet, the heart of the veteran system, where their leaders lived, where their power rested. One by one, the layers around it fell. Satellites cut, defense rings broken. Orbital guns silenced. Reed gave no speeches. Mara gave no mercy. The fleet gave no pause. Above the capital planet, the Judicator stopped, all systems ready, the core lance prepared, a weapon never fired before. Its charge slow but unstoppable. Veteran leaders sent a message. They begged for talk. They promised apology. They offered payment. No reply came. On Earth, the people watched. Live feeds carried the silent war across every screen. No music, no voiceover, only raw footage. A mother in a city apartment held her child close. A teacher in a quiet schoolroom whispered thanks. A worker in a deep mine wiped a tear and kept drilling. They all remembered New Dawn. On the Judicator, the core lance reached full charge. Energy glowed along the ship's spine. Heat shimmered in waves. The time had come. Commander Reed raised one hand, paused, lowered it. Slowly fire. The beam shot from the Judicator. Like a piece of the sun, it struck the planet's surface without sound. Light spread, mountains melted, skies turned black, cities vanished in a single wave. The core lance faded. The ship turned away. No cheers came, no laughter, only silence behind them. The planet burned. Ahead of them lay the final task: to end the war fully, to make sure no threat remained, to finish what had begun. The system burns. The planet below still glowed with fire. Smoke rose into the upper sky. No voice came from the veteran capital. No ship tried to escape. No defense was left. Commander Reed stood near the large view window of the Judicator. He watched the burned surface without speaking. His officers waited for his next move. No celebration was seen, only quiet work continued. They had come to end this, not to feel proud. Other ships of the Black Hammer fleet circled around the broken system, each one locked on new targets. Energy plants, supply stations, fuel cores, everything linked to war. One by one they fired. No mercy given. No delay allowed. Everything built to support the veteran fleet was removed from existence. Small enemy crafts tried to run, but Earth's hunters were faster, sleek and sharp. They cut through the dark like blades. No warning came, only fire. Tactical. Officer Mara sent a message to all units. Phase 2 complete. Phase 3 ready. Commander Reed turned from the window. His face showed no pride, only focus. He gave a single nod. Begin the sweep. At that command, the fleet split into 4 groups. Each one moved toward a different side of the system. No planet was ignored. No station left untouched. They were not here to send a message anymore. They were here to finish on one moon. A science base tried to power shields. Their systems failed before they reached half strength. Kinetic rods dropped from orbit. No sound came before impact, only a flash that a crater took their place on. Another world. Storage tanks exploded. Towers fell. Fire spread fast. The sky turned red. People tried to run, but there was nowhere to hide. Some veteran soldiers threw down weapons. They waved empty hands. They begged for life. No order came to save them. The Black Hammer fleet had one mission: to make sure no second New Dawn could ever happen. Deep in space, a hidden veteran ship tried to send a message, a warning to other species, a call for help. Before the words left the system, the signal was cut. Human stealth ships destroyed the relay in seconds. Nothing left the system. Nothing escaped inside the Judicator. The atmosphere stayed still. Officers gave updates. Targets lost, enemies neutralized, system nearly cleansed. Reed walked to a small room near the bridge, a quiet place. A wall screen showed names of the New Dawn victims. One name pulsed: the last survivor. A boy found in the underground shelter, safe, alive. He was now on a medical ship nearby, surrounded by gentle voices, given water, given comfort. He had no parents now, no home. But he had been found. Commander Reed stared at the name. He placed one hand on the screen. No words were needed. On the other side of the system, a final enemy fleet appeared. Late, weak, confused. They had been called back too late. They saw the fire. They saw the wreckage. They hesitated. Human ships did not wait. They attacked with clean moves. Formations locked tight. Weapons charged full. The veteran fleet broke apart within minutes. Some ships tried to run, some turned back, some simply stopped moving. Earth's fleet destroyed them one by one. No chase, no rush, just quiet fire and cold steel. A single ship drifted without power. Inside, the captain spoke into a recorder. She spoke of regret, of fear, of mistakes, but no one would hear her voice. The Black Hammer fleet moved past without pause. Their duty was not to listen back. On Earth, people watched. The stars looked the same, but the world felt different. They had seen loss. They had seen strength. Now they saw fire. In the global halls, leaders held quiet meetings. They spoke of the future, of new lines, of new warnings. Messages went out to other species. Clear, short: peace with Earth brings peace. War with Earth brings silence. Many responded fast. They sent respect. They sent apologies. They updated agreements. They remembered what happened to the Vagrant. The Judicator returned to the center of the system, surrounded by empty space and broken worlds. Commander Reed stood once again at the large view window. He saw not victory, he saw duty done. Beside him, Officer Mara stepped forward. She showed him the final report targets. Cleared, system offline. No sign of survivors. Reed looked at the screen. He gave a small nod. Begin withdrawal. One by one the ships turned, engines warmed, paths aligned. They did not rush. They did not leave damage behind, only silence. The Black Hammer fleet moved out. No message left. No signature trace. Only the memory of fire. Back on the medical ship, the boy from New Dawn opened his eyes. He looked around. He saw gentle faces. He did not speak. He simply held a small toy, burned and cracked the last piece from his home, and nurse sat beside him. She placed a soft blanket on his shoulders. She whispered, "You are safe now." The ship turned with the fleet, heading back to Earth. Far behind them, the veteran system drifted in quiet ruin. Stars still burned, but the worlds were gone, and none would forget. The war ends. The Black Hammer fleet moved through space like shadows returning home. The silence behind them was not empty. It was filled with answers. It carried justice. It carried the memory of New Dawn. Commander Reed sat alone in his quarters. A small screen in front of him showed images from the destroyed colony, pictures from before the attack, people smiling, children playing, farms wide and green under soft skies. He reached out and touched the screen with care, not with anger, but with weight. A burden now complete. Tactical Officer Mara entered quietly. She placed a report on the table. All ships accounted. All systems stable. No more enemy signals. Reed nodded without speaking. His eyes stayed on the screen. Mara looked at the faces. She had never visited New Dawn, but now she would never forget it. Across the fleet, soldiers rested. No cheering, no songs, only quiet rooms. People sat in small groups. They spoke in low voices. They remembered those who had been lost on Earth. The return signal was received. The mission was complete. The veteran system was gone. No calls for help had been found. No warning signals left active. The sky that once held a threat now held only ash. The global broadcast system activated screens lit up in homes, in schools, in deep space stations. The president stood before the world once more. This time her voice was slower, filled with sorrow, but also strength. The words were few. "We did not begin this war. We only ended it. Let this be the last time such loss is needed. Let this remind the stars that peace has value. Let them know Earth stands watchful." Her speech reached far beyond Earth. Other species heard. Other worlds took notice. All messages received after that day came with respecting the stars. No one asked what happened to the veteran. They had seen enough. The medical ship landed quietly on Earth. The boy from New Dawn was taken to a peaceful care center. A green field surrounded the building. Flowers grew along the walls. He walked slowly with support. He looked up at the sky. He said nothing. He did not need to. The sky was blue. There was no fire, no smoke, no sound of ships above. Nurses watched him from a distance. He held the same broken toy in his hand. It had survived the fall. It had survived the fire. Like him, a woman named Elia came to his side. She had once worked on the same colony. Now she helped others who had lost everything. She sat beside him. She placed a drawing board in front of him. He picked a color. He began to draw the dome of New Dawn from memory, line by line, far above the Earth. The Judicator docked with the main station. Repairs began. Engines cooled. Hull checked for damage. Commander Reed stepped off the ramp. Leaders waited to greet him. He walked past them. He did not ask for reward. He did not speak of victory. He asked for a moment alone. They gave him the request. He entered a memorial hall. A new wall had been added. The names of the fallen from New Dawn were written there, bright and clear. Reed walked along the names. He stopped at one, the name of a young technician who had sent the final signal. He placed his hand on the metal surface. Then he stepped back outside the station. A small ceremony began. No loud words, only a single line spoken by the head of the Memorial Council. One colony lost, one system gone. Balance restored. Flags flew at half height. Lights dimmed for 1 full hour. The stars seemed to pause in respecting the months that followed. Earth returned to peace. No new wars began. No threat rose again. Other species opened talks. Treaties were signed. Warnings were shared. No one forgot what had happened. Black Hammer fleet was not dismantled. It was placed in deep standby, ready but silent, waiting only if needed. People spoke of the fleet with respect, not fear, not pride. Only truth. In classrooms, the story of New Dawn became part of history lessons. Teachers explained how peace must be guarded, how kindness does not mean weakness, how Earth remembers its people. The boy from the colony grew older. He never spoke much, but he drew pages filled with stars, ships, people. He always drew the same hill, the one where he had played before the attack. He said it was still there. In his mind safe one day, he walked into the city. He stood in front of a statue built for the colony. He left a single drawing at the base. Then he walked away. Above him, the sky remained quiet, blue and wide. Without shadow, Commander Reed retired from duty. He lived in a small house by the sea. He planted trees. He watched birds. He never gave interviews. He never wrote books. But every year he sent a message to one place, to the small care center where the boy had stayed. The message had no words, only a small drawing of stars over a green hill, and the boy always sent one back, a single line, "Thank you, then."